don't need vitamins.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna record the class today, so let's go ahead and get started. I think we have somebody out. Turn to page 55. This is during the fight between Grendel and Beowulf, so we're right in the middle of it. Yes, we are. All right, so why don't we start? I don't remember where we left off. Any volunteers? What? All right, Tuck will start for us. Then he who had harrowed the hearts of men.
Then he who had harrowed the hearts of men with pain and affliction in former times, and had given offense also to God, found that his bodily powers failed him. Hygelac's kinsmen kept him helplessly locked in a hand grip. As long as either lived, he was hateful to the other. The monster's whole body was in pain. A tremendous wound appeared on his shoulder. Sinews split, and the bone lappings burst. Beowulf granted the glory of winning. Grendel was driven under the fen banks, fatally hurt. To his desolate lair. His days were numbered. The end of his life was coming over him. He knew it was for certain, and one bloody clash had fulfilled the dearest wishes of the Danes. The man who had lately landed among them, proud and sure, had purged the hall, kept it from harm. He was happy with his night work and the courage he had shown. The great captain had bodily fulfilled his boast to the Danes. He had healed and relieved a huge distress, unremitting humiliations. The hard fate they'd been forced to undergo no small affliction. Clear proof of this could be seen in the hands the hero displayed high up near the roof. The whole of Grendel's shoulder and arm, his awesome grasp. Goodness, what a gory excerpt.
What does that,
Right.
what does that tell you about human nature? That 1,300 years ago, people were writing, and you put, Homer's got some pretty graphic things in him, that's over 2,000 years ago. People love graphic descriptions, just like you go to a movie, some people, I don't particularly like it, but you like to see a lot of, blood and gore and all this stuff. People have always liked that. If you met somebody from Beowulf's day, they'd look different, but they wouldn't be much different. They wouldn't understand the technology, but I think it'd almost be an instant recognition if we're brothers in a sense, because we're all human beings. They like blood and gore and graphic things just like we do. Where are you, at the bottom, or did you go to the top of the page?
Oh my gosh, I can't talk or read.
That's all right.
I went to the top of page 57.
All right, so here we are. I apologize for what I'm about to say. I suppose in the battle between Grendel and Beowulf, Beowulf got the upper hand.
Oh,
I don't get it.
Oh,
That's all right.
It's a knee slap.
Yeah, it's a knee slap.
that was good.
Mr. Willoughby.
I like this freaking
All right, look at question number 19. All right, question number 19.
I'm the middle school.
All right, the question 19 says, find 3 examples of antonomasia on page 53, 55. Antonomasia, I'll give you a definition. That is the use of epithets. And epithets are that list on the back where it says, and he shall be called. All those names of Jesus are epithets. They're descriptions that become names. And so you look for them, you know what to look for, find them. Look at page 53, 55, find 3 examples of epithets, antonomasia, and circle. This is the answering question 19.
I'm still on 16.
I'm on 60.
What?
I'm on 16.
Well, we'll do this one, we'll go back to 16, do 19. 3 examples of antonomasia, we're right there. Dan, you got it? 3 examples of antonomasia. Wrote them down? Where? Uh-oh, big problem. That's the worst place you could keep it.
Which page are we on?
Well, 53, 55, you could start at page 1 and you'd probably find some, almost as many names of God here are epithets. Anytime you find a name of God other than God, or the Lord, they never mention Jesus, they never mention Christ. So any other reference to God is probably antonomasia or epithet. All right, you got one? You got one? I'm gonna go around the room and see if you can give me some. You wanna, Andrew, you don't, keep looking. And look till you find 3, and if you can't find them on those pages, just look 4 pages, maybe whatever it takes. Why don't we go over to Becca?
I found one on, I think this is one, I found it on page 55.
Yeah,
He who had harrowed the hearts of men. Is that, are they talking about? Or no?
well, that's close. The thing about that is, they're not calling him that.
Oh.
But look down 5 lines, it says Hygelek's kinsman. That is an epithet,
Okay.
because that's what they're calling Beowulf, Hygelek's kinsman. Yeah.
Does, same page says the deep captain one?
Yes. And I've noticed this, and I didn't always jump in there, somehow it just went past me. Sometimes when you read geek, you see geek, you read great. It's not great, it's geek. It might be great, but just be careful. So that's 2 right there. And that's just on 1 page. You
What was
find-
the second one?
um, Surely, did you get one, Andrew? Keep looking.
Sorry, where is this?
You're on 53, now we're on 55, we found 2 on 55, now we're looking back to 53, and I'm looking at one, because I circled it. I don't have to look for it, it's right there, big circle on it. That's why I keep urging you to write in your book. Anybody find one on page 53? And if you're hunting through pages that you haven't circled, maybe that'll encourage you, because you can't find anything when I had no idea where it is unless you circled it. Anybody find one? Look at the 2nd stanza on page 53.
Oh, the Earl Troops leader.
There you go, the Earl Troops leader, but Beowulf,
That's Beowulf?
yeah.
Oh, I thought we were finding names for
Can I have
God.
your
It doesn't matter, either one,
Oh.
yeah, just antonomasia, for God, for Beowulf, for Hrothgar, yeah, any of them.
Their Lord's life?
Lord would be one, although again, usually you're talking about the person, but you get the idea, yeah.
The Geet captain?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so any of those would work, as long as you understand it. Also, look at page 55 now. Line 832. Circle the 3 words, no small affliction.
What is that?
You see the word at the top of the page, the top of the board, litotes? All right, circle that and write in the margin. Guys, write in the margin on page 55, 3 lines from the bottom, no small affliction.
Oh, two.
Write the word litotes, Litotes. Anybody ever heard of that? Yeah,
I'll ask my question.
yeah, let's finish this.
And you want us to write like those?
Just circle it and then write litotes on the, in the margin. I'm also gonna give you a definition. I want you to write this down somewhere. I do it right in the book, I did. I put it right here. Let me read it to you, and then I'll read it to you again, so you can copy it down, all right? Everybody listening? Litotes is a form of understatement in which the negative of the contrary is used to achieve emphasis or intensity.
Oh, so it's the same, concept of, what is the thing where you have like, two opposite words joined to create?
Well, that's an oxymoron.
Oxymoron.
And it's similar, but there are some differences. I'll read it again. It's an understatement, a form of understatement, in which the negative of the contrary is used to emphasize, to achieve emphasis or intensity.
Wait, in which the negative?
The negative of the contrary is used to create emphasis. And that sounds, I don't even know if you can picture what that is. You know, it sounds negative. What is he talking about? And yet the concept is so simple. Anybody you ever done anything really good? You know, you performed well, and you have all these people saying, great job, and somebody else comes up to you, hey, you didn't do a bad job tonight. So listen to, or you say, hey, it's not too shabby. That meal's not too shabby. Now listen to it. Instead of saying you did a good job, they said you did a bad job. But you didn't do a bad job. See, that's how it works.
Sarcasm?
Well,
No,
it
it's
is a form of it, I suppose.
And I said that wasn't too bad,
Yeah.
but that's not sarcasm.
Yeah,
You're saying something that wasn't too
I say that all the time, and I consider it a compliment. Hey, you weren't too bad today. And why would anybody want to talk like that? You mentioned to be sarcastic, but if you have 10 people come up to you and 9 of them say, you're the greatest ever, you're the best ever, that was just the most wonderful ever, yeah, thank you. The first time it sounds pretty good, yeah, thank you. Then somebody comes and says, yeah, it wasn't so bad. That's the guy you're gonna remember, because the purpose of it, it's an understatement. And sometimes you can make more of an emphasis by understating than hyperstating or overstating.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really it's a rhetorical term. You know, it's used for emphasis and persuasion, yeah.
What's the last word you said?
Yeah.
Is used to create.
Intensity or emphasis.
Could you repeat the whole
Yeah,
thing again? I'm
sure.
sorry.
It's a form of understatement, gotta start there, understatement, in which the negative of the contrary is used to create emphasis. Now think about it. Instead of saying great, they said bad. That's the contrary, right? But then they took the negative of the bad, which is the same thing as saying it was great. So that was not bad. If it's not bad, it must be great or good.
So the negative of the contrary to
Achieve emphasis. And you think about it, that definition is precise. It's exactly what you're doing. It just sounds funny when you hear it. All right, so we are at the top of the next page. Who wins? Oh, yeah.
Well, he wins, right?
Beowulf, it says that is Grendel dead?
No.
No.
I feel like he may make a return.
But look at line 8:19. You see something in line 8:19 that tells you the fate of Grendel?
Yes.
What?
Fatal.
Fatal injury. It's a mortal wound. He will not recover.
Oh, okay.
He's not dead yet, but he will not recover.
It did sound like that, because it even says, I think a little later, he like goes in his hole and
Yeah.
he's like,
He survives all the way, but he won't survive forever. You weren't all the way wrong though. You said you feel like he might make a recovery.
or some kind of return.
Well, you're not completely wrong. I don't want to fool you because he is mortally wounded. So
I just feel like this story isn't over yet.
You're
Like,
right.
There's gotta be like this much left.
that's
in
what
the
everybody, several people have said. Is it over? Well, you got that much to go. Remember, there are three monsters. So the book is organized around those three monsters.
Oh, I forgot that.
Okay.
That makes sense.
John Carter, maybe
Yes.
you can listen if you'll,
Yes, sir.
if you'll read. Then you can use the rest.
Want me to read?
I do. Then morning game, and then you use the rest.
What?
You said you want to use the rest?
I can read first. if you-
Yes, I mean, that's exactly what it said.
Awesome. You want me to read?
Glad we're on the same page,
And,
which is page 57.
Yeah, and it starts at then, right?
Got it.
Wait, there's two thens.
Then
Okay.
morning.
Then morning came, and many a warrior gathered, as I've heard around the gift hall, clan chiefs flocking from far and near down wide ranging roads, wondering greatly at the monster's footprints. His fatal departure was regretted by no one who witnessed his trial. The, oh Lord,
Ignominy. Ignominy.
Ignominious marks in his flight, where he'd sulked away, exhausted in spirit and beaten in battle, bloodying the path, hauling his doom to the demon's mirror. The bloodshot water wallowed and surged. There were loathsome upthrows and overturnings of waves and gore and wild slurry. With his death upon him, he had dived deep and scorched him, drowned out by his life and his healing soul. Hell climbed him there.
All right, so he goes to his mirror, which is same thing as a what? On the
Lake.
quiz for Wednesday.
I'm sorry.
Ignominious.
What?
Humiliated.
Mirror,
Oh,
M-E-R-E.
the lake, sorry.
The lake, it's a,
The,
it's a,
like, one that stays still, right?
yeah, it's a swamp or,
Stagnant, stagnant.
yeah,
Stagnant.
And this is Grindel, that's like.
yes.
So did he die?
Kill John.
What?
You come up here. Yeah. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Come on. This is for your good. It's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. I know, but I had to say it. Okay, just don't like that. Okay, we're back. Had a little adjustment. We're back. Okay, so, I believe, have you read yet?
No.
Would you mind reading Then Away, the second then?
Yep. Then away they rode, the old retainers, with many a young man following after a troop on horseback, and high spirits on their bay steeds. Beowulfs doing their praise over and over again. Nowhere, they said, north or south, between the two seas or under the tall sky, on the broad earth, was there anyone better to raise a shield or to rule a kingdom. Yet there was no laying of blame on the Lord, the noble Hrothgar. He was a good king.
So, this is a big deal. Grendel has bothered them for how long? How long?
Has what for how long?
Grendel, how long has he
Oh, it
bothered
was like
them?
one night,
No.
2 nights.
No?
Wait,
No,
hold
wait,
on,
time.
Oh, he's been fighting him for like 12 years.
12 years.
But like, I was like.
Yeah, no, he's been there for 12 years, and so for the first time in 12 years, he's gone. How does that news spread?
Probably fast.
Yeah, how? Look at it. What does it say?
The people,
What do you mean?
it's like, is like, his like.
Word of mouth? Yeah, absolutely. It spreads. By the way, I don't think we pointed this out. I'm looking at it at the bottom of page 55. He's upset, that is, Beowulf's upset that he didn't kill Grendel. And he doesn't, but does he have anything to show for his victory?
Yes, the
What?
arm. Right.
Where is it?
It's on top of something or something.
He
So
nailed
it's
it
on
to
his
the,
side.
above the door of Herod. He ripped the arm off of Grendel's shoulder and nailed it to the, right above the door. So he has something to show for it, yeah.
It really reminds me of like in The Hobbit when Smaug is vanquished and like the word spreads all
Yeah.
over the world.
Yeah.
And like everyone knows that Smaug's gone because it's the same thing. Like Smaug had been terrorizing the surrounding environs of the mountain for like years and years and years. So.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, please.
If like someone cut my arm off, would I only feel it in like my shoulder, or like would I feel my arm still, like?
There's this thing called phantom pain, you know, that there's nothing there to hurt. I guess there'd be reason for this to hurt, but yeah, you feel, it's the same, I think it's similar to, I don't have this experience anymore, but have you ever had, have that, like, if your phone's on vibration, it starts and you feel like it's in your pocket and it was way over there?
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess our body, muscle memory, our body just kind of reacts, but there is something called phantom
It
pain.
was kind of like, that actually reminds me of when like, I'm at a place after last year's school year, whenever I was at a place and I was talking to someone, I'd always go like this, but then there'd be no mask
Yeah.
there, so I'd go like this before I talk to them. So
I sure hope you don't have to go like that anymore. None of us do. I hope we get to the point. But let's keep reading. Let's see, Reagan, would you read bottom of page 57?
At times the Lord gave birth into Beowulf, letting her judgment with his words. Wherever they found the going good on those wilderness tracks. Meanwhile, a thane of the king's household, the curious tales, the traditional singer, deeply schooled in the lore of the past, and to new theme to a strict evil. The man started to recite with skill, rehearsing Beowulf's triumphs and feats in well-fashioned lines and harmony with words.
So we have Beowulf, we have Homer. This is sort of a reference to how these stories get written. Some great feat happens, and it says that a thane, a carrier of tales, a traditional singer, started to recite with skill, rehearsing Beowulf's triumphs and feats. So you see kind of a reference to the very book we're reading, although this is made up. It's still, that's sort of the entertainment of the day.
Like how it came to be.
Yeah, that's the entertainment. You have these minstrels something happens and they write a song about it and they sing it. So why don't we go to Jackson?
I'm starting at
He told you.
he told what he heard repeated in songs about Sigmund's exploits. All of those many feats and marvels, the struggles and wanderings of Wales' sons, things unknown to anyone except to feuds and foul doings confined by uncle to nephew, when he felt the urge to speak of them. Always they had been partners in the fight, friends in need. They killed giants, they conquered swords, and brought them down.
Okay, so we are about to begin one of about 5 or 6 what we call them as interludes. So I believe, let's see if that's one of your words. It is not, so you need to write it down.
I was like at,
Yeah, we're on page
after-
59 of where the italics begin.
So, okay.
I don't see a question yet about it. Let me see. Well, 22 is the question. It doesn't use the word interlude. So look at question 22. And we'll go back and pick up those ones that we haven't answered. Yes?
We didn't know interlude first, please.
No. So write the word interlude down right here on
Like
page.
a bracket almost.
Yeah. And everything you see in italics will be this interlude. Okay, interlude is an interruption. Also, we might call it I don't like the word digression because we use it sometimes. I think that digressions are sometimes the most interesting things in a book or in a speech. It's related, but it's not directly related. So an interlude is a interruption of the story of Beowulf. In this case, to tell the story of Sigmund. So circle his name on page 59. It's on about line 875. Circle Sigmund's name. It's where
Sigmund's glory.
yeah, Sigmund's exploits or whatever. Yeah, Sigmund's glory, either one, just make sure you know the name Sigmund. Sigmund, you see in the margin, is a dragon slayer. I think there've been other stories written about Sigmund. Why is the fact that he's a dragon slayer fitting for this book?
Because, Beowulf's gonna face a dragon.
We know he's gonna face, or we know it, that he's gonna face his own dragon later in the story. So, Leah, would you read?
Okay. After his death, Sigmund's glory grew and grew because of his courage when he killed the dragon, the guardian of the horde. Under Grey Stone, he had dared to enter all by himself to face the worst without Vicella. But it came to pass that his sword plunged right through those radiant scales and drove into the wall. The dragon died of it. His daring had given him total possession of the treasure hoard, his to dispose of however he liked. He loaded a boat, while sun waited for old dazzling squirrels, the hot dragon melted.
Let's see, we'll come up here to Andrew. Andrew, would you read, page 61?
Sigmund's name.
Yeah, Sigmund's name, 61.
Sigmund's name?
Yes.
Sigmund's name was known everywhere. He was utterly valiant and virtuesome, and a fence round his fighters. A flourish, therefore, after King Hermann's process declined and his campaign slowed down. The king was betrayed, ambushed in Jutland, overpowered and done away with. The waves of his grief had beaten him down, made him a burden, a source of anxiety to his own nobles. That expedition was often condemned in those earlier times by experienced men who relied on his lordship for the redress, who presumed that the part of a prince was to thrive on his father's throne and defend the nation, the shielding land where they lived and belonged, and its holding and strongholds. Such was Beowulf in the affection of his friends and everyone alive, but evil entered into Hermann. Was that cute?
All right, thank you. Again, I'm not following the questions word or question by question, so look back to page 59, and some of this I really recommend you write in the book as we finish up for today. First of all, what do we know about almost all dragons, at least the ones in Western literature, The Hobbit? You'll see it in Beowulf, and you see it in this dragon that Sigmund killed. What seems to be the fact that they fly, they have fire, and all that. But what other thing, basically, they do?
They all seem to be easy to kill. Because
Yeah,
all these people have killed all these dragons, like it seems like they're just like easy to pick out.
You might be surprised with this story.
They like treasure?
Right. What do they do with the treasure?
They like hoard it.
They hoard it.
Caves.
So,
Do a big pile.
yeah.
Protect it.
right, they protect it. Circle at the bottom of the page, 59, the word treasure hoard. Circle it. And really, in this book, what dragons represent are bad kings. Because we already know from Hrothgar, what do good kings do with treasure?
Share it.
And bad kings
Hoard it.
hoard it. So turn the page, line 900. Hermod is mentioned several times in this book.
I bet he is a bad king.
He is a bad king. He does. He started out as a good king, and then for some reason he turns into a bad king. And one of the things that made him bad, he became selfish, and he didn't share. So you see King Hermod, circle his name.
Wait, which name?
Hermod is line 900. That's one of their ancestors, and I don't even know if he's Geat or Danish, but he's just one of the ancestors. Okay, so let's move on.
I I'm sorry.
Yes.
Geats are from Geatland?
which
that
is
what it
probably Sweden.
Okay.
And I need to show you that map. I'll be trying to remember to do that for tomorrow. Show map. Okay. All right, so Mariah, would you start at the bottom of the page?
Meanwhile, the Danes kept racing their mounts down Sandy Lane. The light of day broke and kept brightening. Bands of retainers galloped in excitement to the Beowulf hall to see the marvel. And the king himself, guardian of the ring horde, goodness in person, walked in majesty from the women's quarters with a numerous train, attended by his queen and her crowd of maidens, across to the maiden hall.
Let's just note that yeah, so now they have a crowd. They have tourists, so to speak. They come by, and if you're going to go to Herod, you've got to see what? What's drawing them? What's drawing them to
The arm.
the arm? You can see the tourist guide saying, "Look up, folks! You see the arm of Grendel that our hero Beowulf killed." Huck, would you finish out for us?
Yes. Sorry, are we on when Hofgar?
Yes.
When Hofgar arrived at the hall, he spoke. Standing on the steps under the steep eaves, gazing at the rootwork and Grendel's talons, first and foremost, let the Almighty Father be thanked for this sight. I suffered
Circle that, if you would. Every time you see God mentioned in this speech.
Almighty Father.
Yes.
Okay. I suffered a long harrowing by Grendel, but the heavenly shepherd,
Circle that.
can work his wonders always and everywhere. Not long since it seemed that I would never be granted the slightest solace or relief from any of my burdens. The best of houses glittered and reeked and ran with blood. This one worry outweighed all others. A constant distress to counselors entrusted with defending the people's forts from assault by monsters and demons, but now a man with the Lord's assistance. Circle that.
Yeah, why don't we pause well, we'll just start right there tomorrow as we finish reading and continue to read this. Remember, your homework this week is pretty light. All you're doing is studying. You can start writing definitions for the other words if you want to.
But the other words on that same.
That's right, the last 24 words, the last two lines. Wednesday. Vocabulary test quiz is Wednesday. The words are due next Tuesday. You may leave. We'll see you. John Carter.
Yes, sir.
I got a quick question for you.